If you're getting ready for the LSAT, you probably know how stressful it can be. Today, we're talking about a crucial element that most test takers underestimate: the mental game. You've likely heard the LSAT's all about reading comp and argument analysis, but no one talks enough about how anxiety can impact your results. The truth is, test anxiety can actually help you when it's channeled the right way. Today, we're going to explore how to transform your LSAT jitters into sharpened focus. We'll discuss a step-by-step approach to getting ready for the LSAT, from building a study routine that works with your anxiety rather than against it, to practical tips for the day of the test. By putting these methods into action, my students report feeling more in control and achieving remarkable improvements in their scores. If you're aiming for top 14 law schools or significant scholarship money, or both, harnessing the power of your nerves can be the difference between settling for a safety school versus getting into your dream program. First, for those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. Now let's start with a fundamental concept. Anxiety means you care. If you didn't care about your LSAT performance, you wouldn't feel nervous. So recognizing that anxiety is a natural response to something important helps you reframe how you view stress. When you're anxious, your body releases adrenaline. Adrenaline can sharpen your senses, making you more alert and quicker to notice details or errors in reading comp passages and logical reasoning stimuli. And anxiety nudges you to prepare for the LSAT more thoroughly. You're less likely to slack off because you feel the stakes of the test. So instead of thinking, I'm too nervous to do well, say to yourself, I'm anxious because this matters. Let me use this energy to lock in on the tasks at hand, to the question in front of me. Now, a lot of students make a crucial mistake on the LSAT, which is that they cram for it. They might study for 6 or 7 hours straight, hoping sheer willpower is going to carry them, but this often leads to burnout, which multiplies test anxiety. So you want to study in shorter, more focused blocks. Maybe in the morning, you spend 30 to 60 minutes with a focused block of studying on either reading comp or logical reasoning. You keep it short and active. Then in the afternoon, you study for 60 to 90 minutes after a lunch break or a breather by reviewing tricky reading comp passages or harder argument structures. You focus on understanding why certain answers are correct or incorrect. Then in the evening, you do another quick LSAT exercise, just 20-30 minutes. You summarize a passage in your own words, or you break down an argument from a practice question. This solidifies what you've learned without overloading your brain. And then, of course, if you have the time in your schedule, you can build up from here. But again, don't overdo it. Don't do 6-7 hours a day. We don't want you to burn out. You can also take strategic breaks. Every hour that you study, you take 5-10 minutes after that to stretch, move around, or just let your mind wander. Then you do a weekly reset where at least one full day per week, you take a total break from the LSAT to help your brain consolidate everything. During this time, you are not touching your LSAT materials unless not studying would stretch you out. If you can do it, you come back refreshed and more capable of retaining new information. Now, since we're focusing on the mental side of test taking, let's talk about how anxiety factors into reading comp and logical reasoning. In reading comp, active annotation like underlining or highlighting key points can help keep your mind from wandering. Anxiety often scatters your thoughts. Annotating recenters and refocuses your attention. You could also do paragraph summaries where after each paragraph, you pause for a few seconds and mentally summarize what you just read. This combats the anxious urge to skim without retaining. You could also take a moment to identify the tone or the purpose of a given sentence or paragraph in the context of the passage as a whole. If you notice the tone shifts, that can help you anticipate the question's direction. Anxiety can help you stay vigilant for those small nuances or details. In logical reasoning, you're analyzing arguments, of course. You want to find the core of the argument, what's the conclusion, and what's the evidence supporting it. Anxiety might tempt you to rush, but use your heightened awareness to carefully identify the main point of the argument. You could also evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of the argument. Ask yourself, does the evidence really support the conclusion? If you can systematically spot gaps, you prevent anxiety from clouding your judgment. And of course, take a final moment to recheck before you finalize your given answer choice, because anxiety can often lead to second guessing. Counteract this by asking yourself, is the conclusion consistent with the evidence, and Are there any overlooked assumptions or flaws in the argument? Now, even with the best prep, test anxiety can still strike in unexpected ways. Let's talk about some common pitfalls and how to avoid them. The first is the perfectionist trap, where you spend too long on a single question because you're afraid of getting it wrong. The solution to this is to set a personal time limit. If you're stuck, pick the best answer after your time limit and move on from there. Come back if you have any leftover time after finishing the section. You can always flag questions, skip them, and come back to them later. You might also be engaging in negative self-talk, telling yourself, I'll never get this, or everyone else is ahead of me. The solution to this is to interrupt these thoughts by stating a simple fact. I'm doing my personal best at this moment, and you're comparing yourself to your previous self, not to other people. Then you shift your focus back to the question at hand. You might also potentially lose your focus in the middle of a section where you realize you've read the same sentence multiple times because your mind wandered. The solution here is to close your eyes for just 3 seconds, take a deep breath, then continue. A quick reset can combat the anxiety spiral that pulls you away from the text. Now, your routine and your mindset are set, but you still got to handle the actual LSAT test day. So here are some specific battle-tested strategies. First, simulate test day conditions in advance. A few times before the real exam, do a full practice test at the same time of day you'll take the actual LSAT. You can even wear the same clothing you plan to wear on test day to minimize any surprises or unexpected factors on the day of the exam. On the day of the exam itself, you want to wake up early enough so that you're not rushing to get to the test center or get your computer all set up. Eat a balanced meal or a small snack that's not going to upset your stomach. Do a quick warm-up exercise like a couple of questions of logical reasoning or a single reading passage. These are questions you've done before. You already know the answers, but you're just getting your brain warmed up. Then you could also engage in some deep breathing techniques. Before each section of the test, you close your eyes for just 5-10 seconds and inhale deeply through your nose, exhaling slowly. This tells your brain that you're the one in control, not your nervous system. You also want to engage in positive visualization, where you spend a moment picturing yourself calmly reading the questions, answering with clarity and confidence. This mental rehearsal reduces the chance of freezing up during the test. Now, if you're in a testing center or your home environment has noise or potential disruptions of some kind, remind yourself that you've already practiced in stressful scenarios and lean on that previous experience rather than panicking about the unexpected. Now, one often overlooked aspect of anxiety is hope. When you have a reason to believe in your progress, you're more likely to push past difficult days. Remember that getting a better LSAT score will help you unlock scholarships, potentially saving you tens of thousands of dollars in law school tuition, helping you avoid debt. In the lead up to the test, you could keep a spreadsheet or a journal tracking your practice test scores, paying special attention to improvements, and remembering that each tiny step up is a reminder that consistent effort pays off. And you could also motivate yourself with small rewards along the way. After completing a tough practice test or a tough week of studying, do something you enjoy, a favorite meal, you watch a movie, or you take a trip somewhere just for the day. Now remember that everyone experiences small dips in performance here and there. Maybe you were expecting a score jump after a practice test, but your score stayed the same, or maybe it dropped. Fluctuations are normal. Resilience is all about bouncing back. So reflect on your scores instead of reacting to them. Look at your test performance objectively. Were you rushing? Did your nerves cause mistakes? If you can identify the root cause instead of spiraling, you can then address it and take steps to avoid the issues next time around. And you can also adjust your strategy. If your method of reading isn't working, or your method of analyzing arguments just is not clicking, you could try out a new approach or a new resource. If you haven't taken a course or gotten one-on-one coaching, you might consider going that route. If you'd like my help, at LSAT Unplugged, we actually offer live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. You could check out the links below to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. If you're feeling stressed or burnt out, you could also take a short break. Sometimes stepping away for just a day or two lets your brain recharge and you return with a fresher perspective. This is why at LSAT Unplugged, we actually build days off into our students' personalized day-by-day study plans to help them get that reset. Now remember that the LSAT is more than just a test of reading or argument analysis. It is a mental challenge, but your anxiety, when you harness it properly, can actually sharpen your focus and keep you alert to nuances that other test takers miss. By adopting a balanced study routine, balanced study schedule, practicing under realistic conditions, and nurturing a resilient mindset, you can transform nervous energy into a force that drives you forward. And remember, you're not alone. A lot of students struggle with test anxiety, but those who learn to channel it effectively often see the biggest gains and the biggest scholarship awards. So trust your process, track your progress, and stay committed to your goals. You've got this. If you need anything, reach out. I'm glad to help. You can use the links below to book a call with me and my team. And in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.